Welcome to our final project, Fingertip Finder, Image Segmentation for Identifying Fingertip Locations by Zhongmin Yin and Ethan Ruoff.
So as an overview of the project, there are two objectives that we are trying to accomplish. The first one is to achieve pixel level image segmentation of locating where the hand is. And the second objective is to locate where the fingertip is in the input image or video. And it's a two-layer network that can extract the exact coordinate of the fingertip when pointing toward a camera. And they used one model to identify a bounding box around the hand, and the other model identified the coordinate of the fingertip within said bounding box.
So now to talk about our data set and how we got it. So to get our data set, we looked at multiple data sets and narrowed it down to two, EgoFinger and EgoGest AR. After performing an in-depth analysis of both of these data sets, we decided to use EgoFinger because the labels are more intuitive and they're easier to work with. We sanitized it to only include relevant videos, so some of the videos were holding instead of pointing, so we got rid of the holding ones. And after creating an extract frames Python script, we were able to create our dataset of 28,105 samples. One problem we had, though, was that the model was having trouble generalizing with such a lack of diversity within our samples. So we actually added the IPN hand dataset to help our Model 1 generalize to live webcam input. With this, we created three custom data loaders. The first data loader loads the initial images and creates a modified mask using the depth map. It then uses OpenCV's convex hull algorithm to actually generalize the new bounding box. The finger data loader actually crops the initial image to the bounding box of the mask, adds padding to the bottom and right to make it a 1x1 image, and then resizes it to be 99 by 99 pixels. And lastly, the MSE finger data loader intended for the mean squared error rate loss function does the exact same thing as the finger data loader, except instead of returning the mask, it'll take the average pixel of the mask and return that as the fingertip coordinate.
So now we're going to discuss the approach used in Model 1. So now one of the things that we were concerned with is whether to tile the input image or not, because the input image size is 480 by 640, and flattening that would result in a very large number of nodes in the upper layer, which is potentially problematic. So we experimented with tiling the image, and to our surprise, the model actually performs much better without tiling whatsoever. So we also experimented with multiple different architectures when doing transfer learning using ImageNet pre-trained models. So the best performing one is ResNet 18, and it achieved good accuracy and precision when trained on both EgoFinger and IPN datasets. In comparison with other architectures, MobileNet is slightly smaller, but the performance improvements is slightly worse. And ResNet 50 and ResNet 101, the performance is also comparable, but the model is much larger, and that result in very high usage of the GPU memory and force us to reduce batch size. Therefore, we decide to use ResNet 18 as the architecture moving forward.
Now that we have our bounding box of the hand, it's time to move on to Model 2, where we get our fingertip coordinate. To do this, we tried three different architectures. So the first method we tried was the cropped image bounding box. This one takes in the cropped image and the cropped mask, and it outputs the pixel level segmentation of which pixels are the fingertip and which ones aren't. This one's results were a little too false positive for our liking. As you can see, the masks for the predicted ones are far larger than the actual result.
And the next approach that we tried is full image MSE, where we take the entire image as input without cropping. And we train the model to perform the regression task of finding the vertical and horizontal coordinate of the fingertip. And the accuracy is defined as the percentage output that are exactly correct when rounding to the nearest pixel. The accuracy is not very high, but the criteria could also be relaxed because the fingertip itself actually spans multiple pixels.
Lastly, we have the best of both worlds, the cropped image MSE. This one uses the cropped image from the cropped image bounding box, and it uses the same methodology as the full image MSE. So this one allows us to use the middle pixel of the bounding box coordinate as the fingertip coordinate, and this one is the most effective by far. Efficiency-wise, it's 97.63% smaller than the full image MSE due to the smaller input image, and it's also 50% smaller than the cropped image bounding box since it doesn't have to take in the mask as an input to the model. we decided that this would be the method we use since it's comparable to the other two methods accuracy-wise while being far more efficient. So now that we've discussed both models, now it's time to discuss the overall pipeline of Fingertip Finder. So the first step we do is we input the image into the function and we resize that image to be 4080 by 640. So that way it matches our Model 1 input. So then we put it into the model and the model returns the mask that it predicts. And using that mask, we're able to crop our original image to the bounding box of the mask, pad it to be a square image, and resize it to be 99 by 99. Once it's input into Model 2, we get our coordinate of the fingertip, and we actually overlay Model 1's bounding box to the image as well as a circle around the fingertip on the original input image. And then with that new labeled image, we'll return that as well as the fingertip coordinate. And as you can see from this video, we're getting approximately 30 FPS on it, which is quite good. And you can see that it's effectively tracking the hand as well as the fingertip. Thank you very much.